So today I'm finally working on Best Self by Mike Bear, and I finished finally the introduction. And really quick, there's a couple of things that I wanted to go over before getting to the first day's assignments. So you guys get ready, we're digging right in. Sometimes following your authenticity means taking a leap of faith and not fully understanding where it's going to take you. That's exactly how I feel right now. He says, I want you to realize that the journey is the destination. All of us are constantly evolving and transforming, and we have no idea what, who, or where we will be at the end of our transformation. And along the way, should you uncover any darkness, which I define as an area where you are living out of sync with your best self, then our job is to shine the light and get you realigned. I really like that. Another thing that I have highlighted is, so this guy, the author, Mike Bear, he was a drug addict a long time ago. And one of the things that he is talking about is that, and I want to share this because of how many of you are going through a weight loss journey or actual weight loss surgery journey. You may be before the surgery, you may be post-op. You may be newly post-op, you may be a year out, 5 years out, 10 years out. But one of the things that really struck me as us being food addicts is that he says, I thought that if I just stopped using meth, that meant I was sober. And that was actually a very sobering thought for me, that just because I cut back on food doesn't mean I'm sober from my food addiction. And I sit here and I wonder how many heroin addicts would be able to kick their habit if someone told them just have a little bit of heroin 3 times a day and don't have any more. You can do it, just have a little bit and stop yourself. I think that a lot of people think it's a lot easier to eat less food for a food addict than it really is. There's another few more, actually I got quite a few. Many of those clients came to me in unexpected ways, and I believe opportunities have arisen in my life because I stay open to them. And if you were watching my previous 2 videos, at least the first one, or the last one for my BHC, I don't remember. Anyways, it was a couple weeks ago. That I talked about the Eat, Pray, Love quote, which will be down, the quote is gonna be in the info down below. But that's what she talks about too, is that the opportunities that are available to you simply because you stay open to them, and that you view everything as a clue and everyone as a teacher, and that you listen to life that's happening around you, because that's the only way that you're gonna see what the universe is trying to tell you. And then he goes on to say, there are some universal laws of living that apply to all of us. And I really believe that. He also says that if you're reading this book, which I am, I don't know if you are, if you're just watching some videos here, but if you're reading this book, you have a desire to change. So you've taken the first big step, and change is well within your grasp. And I believe those as well. And one of his big premises is that the real problem is that people are living lives that are incongruent with their authentic selves, either because they're following in their family's footsteps instead of carving their own path, or they're doing what worked for them 10 years ago, but simply doesn't anymore. They've closed themselves off to what life has to offer because of fear or any number of other reasons. And the one that stuck out to me is what worked for them 10 years ago, but isn't anymore, because what worked for me 10 years ago isn't working for me now. So I got to find some other thing to do. Here's another reference that I really like. And he's talking about, you know, why we're not doing what we need to do to live our authentic life. And he says, imagine if someone's house was on fire. First, you get them safe, you remove them from the burning structure. But there are many more steps after that. You don't just stop once a person is out of harm's way and then let the house burn to the ground. The fire department comes, puts out the fire, then you've got to deal with the insurance claim, clean up the aftermath, remove the mess, to rebuild or move, get new furniture, and so on. But when someone's experienced a significant emotional event in their life, they often don't take all the necessary steps to deal with it in a healthy way. It would be like moving them back into that burned out house and telling them just to ignore the ashes. And that, I feel, is like really profound, because that's what I feel like I've been told my whole life. I was just a baby when I was molested. I was like 5 or 6 years old. And I look around at little 5 or 6 year old girls now, and I think, I can't even go there right now, because I'm gonna be all fucked up. But that's what I feel like. I feel like I've been told my whole life to just, okay, well, we got you out of the house, so shut up and move on with your life. And that's easier said than done. So anyways, moving on, because I don't want to dwell on any one part of this. I'm just giving you some of my some excerpts from the introduction that made me stop and highlight for myself. He goes on to say that there's this pervasive belief that people can't change. And he says, if people couldn't change, everyone would basically be doomed. And he says, I've seen people overcome all odds, trauma, loss, mental illness, physical disabilities to change their lives. People change. They did, he did, I did, I am, you are, and we can. But when he talks about this in here, I want to add my own caveat, because he goes on and talks about that, you know, it's 100% untrue that people can't change. However, people only change when they want to. And so this book is not, I just want to hold this up because I want to make sure we're really clear on this whole people can change, people can't change idea. Okay. This is best self, not best someone else. Okay. This is be you. Okay. Not change them. This is not a book about how to change somebody else. And this is not a book about how to get somebody else to change themselves. Okay. Even though was an interventionist, is an interventionist, that doesn't mean you are. And he is a professional at what he does at being able to go in and get unwilling participants to change. And so when we are talking about being victims of abuse, especially prolonged abuse, not a one-time, you know, you're asleep in your house, someone breaks into your house and rapes you. We're talking about the person who rapes you lives right down the hall in the other room or right next to you in the bed. I just want to be really clear about my own realizations that I've come to, that you can't change other people. And trying to will destroy you, because it can't be done. So everyone is capable of changing when they want to and decide to. And that includes you. When you want to and decide to, you can. And I want to. Especially if you're on, if you are getting weight loss surgery or have had weight loss surgery, you didn't have that weight loss surgery to be skinny. You had that weight loss surgery because you want your life to change. And somehow we have this notion that if we lose weight, that will cause our life to change. And to a really good extent, it has. The weight loss itself, literally the physicality of losing weight, from me going from being this big to being this big, has changed my life in a physical way. and it has started to manifest a change up here and in here, because it took away a coping mechanism, not a skill. Okay, a skill is something that you do that's good and healthy. A mechanism is something that you do to numb the pain, ignore the pain, check out, and basically be in denial that something doesn't exist. So when that coping mechanism is taken away from you, it does force you to start thinking up here about other ways. And if you are unable to find another way to manage the stress and chaos in your life, because it's never going to go away. What did I just say? Oh yeah, so if you can't manage that, then you're not going to be successful with your weight loss plans. Either you will not make it to your goal weight, or you will make it to your goal weight and then you could get all the way back up to your starting weight. And it is not impossible to lose the weight twice, but it is much harder the second time around, or third or fourth time. So just on the note of other people, you can't change them, and don't even try. There's only one person you can change, and it's you. And this is what we're working on, being our best self, not our best change somebody else. And if there's someone in your life who is in one way or another harming you or detrimental to you, I don't think that it's bad or wrong to make an attempt to try to make that relationship work, in the form of standing up for yourself and saying, enough is enough. You're just fine the way you are. You don't have to change, but I can't live this life anymore. And if this doesn't change now, immediately from this moment forward, I'm walking. And you have to be willing to walk away. It doesn't do any good to make a threat, because I promise you, you probably have already made 1,000 of them. So you got to be willing to walk away. And so you don't pull that trigger until you have enough money in the bank and your suitcase packed to walk out and go. And that's the, I hate to quote Trump, because fucking hate his ass, but when we bought this very house, this one right here, this shitty old little house that I love so much, the guy that sold it to us, he was a house flipper, and man, he was an asshole. And I'll tell you what, he read Trump's book, because he didn't have any fucking problem with us saying, you have 10 minutes to make a decision, and he was willing to walk away. So that's the art of the deal, being willing to walk away. Okay, so on that note, I'm moving on. And so just one last little reminder is that that person it has to be their decision to face their problems. You're not the problem. They have a problem. They're not abusing you because you deserve it, okay? They have a problem. And they need to make the decision, have the desire, and make the decision to face their problems and to stop their behavior. Okay, so I have like 4 more highlighted sections from the introduction. So an interesting thought here is that people are thirsty for knowledge about how to live a better life. And if you're watching this, I'm going to say that's you too, that you're thirsty for knowledge about how to live a better life. And so there's links right down in the info of where you can get this book. As you can see, I'm just right in the beginning, so I haven't read it. I can't tell you that the whole book is good, but I have a feeling that it is. So far it is. He says everyone can be their best self. They just have to be clear at what their best self looks like and find the way to embrace that version of the person that they are. And you can't change what you don't acknowledge. And it's up to you to bring about the change. But once you've begun, I think you'll be surprised at how quickly it will happen. You got this. So let's go. So let's go. Now, this is the next one. Let's see. Discovering Your Best Self, Chapter 1. So that's where I'm headed. And I'll see you on the other side of that chapter.